Welcome to the Third Degree Masonic Podcast, where we are always on the level. We're your hosts. I'm Brother Samuel.
I'm Brother Gabriel.
I'm Brother Ryan.
And we're just a bunch of Masons trying to find our place in this fraternity. Craftsmen, it is time again. We hope you've enjoyed our summer series, taking on some topics that interest us and the people that contribute to this podcast. But now it's time to jump into the real meat and potatoes. It's time to propose another question.
Awesome. Real quick.
Real fast before you're real fast. Meat and potatoes?
Meat and potatoes.
That's a very common phrase.
That is not a common phrase. Anyways, continue.
Well, craftsmen,
Yes.
before we get into our next topic, we do have, once again, another message for all the listeners. If you'll notice, every time we post one of our videos, we have a link to our merch that is attached to masongearshop.com. If you follow the link that we post with all of our videos, it'll take you to our page on his shop where he has some amazing merch that has been created for us. And if it's within the length of your cable toe, we would very much appreciate you supporting Mason Gear Shop, as well as ourselves here at the Third Degree Masonic Podcast. And just a reminder, craftsmen, every single dime of our merchandise does not return to us. All of the proceeds from our merch go directly to our sponsoring lodge, Genoa Lodge 433, into the Grand Masters Fund. A little bit of our way here at the podcast of giving back to our lodge, giving back to Freemasonry, giving back to Ohio Freemasonry, because the lodge itself was gracious enough to officially sponsor our podcast. So this is how we're going to repay it.
Absolutely. All right, craftsmen. So, the new question. Are you guys excited?
Very.
Drum roll, please. Sam,
don't
add
have-
that after.
Add that after. I'll
Yes,
work on
thank
that.
you.
So this is a question that has been asked not only by ourselves. This has been probably the number one requested question and the number one requested thing in all of our surveys. And I have set up an awesome schedule of people to help us answer it. I'm looking really forward to it. Are you ready, folks?
I am.
I ask you, brothers, what does it mean to be a traveling man? And how does one become a traveling man? Yeah.
Well, first you have to grab your keys,
Yeah.
get in your
Grab your
car.
dues card.
Grab your dues card. No, but
that's-
seriously,
that's a
what
good
does it,
question.
we use this phrase all the time, are you a traveling man? Are you a traveling man? What does that mean? I mean, yeah,
I mean, the
Isn't
simple.
there a really cool podcast that's also
yeah, we know. Shameless plug. We love you all.
But I would say simple answer is just a Mason that's willing to travel outside. I shouldn't say willing. That does travel outside their lodge, but that's okay. Big whoop-dee. What does that actually mean? That's the answer
Right.
or question.
Well, see, here's the
That's
thing. You
rough.
can play really fast or loose with this because there are a lot of people who say that every Mason is a traveling man because
Would
if
you agree with that?
Oh, well, let me
Right.
let me think on that for a second, because the people who say that, they say it because if you're really following the teachings and using your working tools, you're taking a piece of masonry with you wherever you go.
Okay.
So you are a traveling ambassador, you are a traveling man of masonry wherever you go. And while I like to subscribe to that every Mason is a traveling ambassador, a traveling representative of their lodge, when we talk about traveling men, we instantly think of Brother Murphy and Brother Allred.
Well, we do anyway.
Yeah, we do here at our lodge.
And I'm sure
because-
listeners.
Any new Master Mason, no matter where they're at, they're like, Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, right.
in
Bam.
California, in
They're
Nevada.
like, who is this
every-
Charlie Murphy and why do we know him?
But anyway, I'm sure listeners, I'm sure if you're a member of Masonry, you have a guy in your lodge, or at the very least, you have a guy in your district who, like our Charlie Murphy, goes to everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
Everything, anything, and is known everywhere.
Right.
You just drop his name, Charlie Murphy. Oh, yeah, I know Charlie from
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And it's like, geez, oh, Pete, well, there's 30 minutes of my life.
That's always how if I'm meeting new Masons from Ohio, I always ask them if they know Charlie Murphy, and 9 times out of 10,
They do.
yes, they do.
So you have someone like this, and Craftsman, would you consider that man a traveling man compared to yourself? I mean, I think it's such an interesting question, because just like our previous question of does Masonry actually make men better, it's a phrase that we use all the time, but do we really understand what we're saying or what we mean by it? So as traveling men, what does that mean? Does that ritualistically mean traveling? Because we all travel when we do ritual.
Mm-hmm.
We all travel when we go through degrees. But does the literal explanation of traveling matter? Could you be a Mason? Could you be considered a traveling man if you never went to another lodge ever except your own?
So, in thinking about this more, and I can be way, way in left field off the bat, I see traveling man as not just, oh, hey, I travel to different lodges, or, oh, hey, I do things throughout my lodge. I see it as you're taking the tools and teachings and you're applying them elsewhere, not just at lodges, at work, at your home with your family, at friends gatherings, out at restaurants and stuff. You are traveling to those locations, being a Mason, being a good man. And I see that almost as the true definition of traveling man. Are you a traveling man? Yes, I do take the teachings that I was taught and apply them elsewhere. I am a good man, not just in a lodge setting.
Well, that's fair, because
Okay.
you have brothers like Brother Bremer, Brother Vince, and our new Master Mason, Brother Ben Carr, who they're very hard-working men. They don't get a lot of time to travel around other lodges, but they're good men, and they represent the fraternity quite well because of them being such good quality men. And they're not at every lodge meeting. They're not at every district function or everything, but you would still say that they are traveling through their life as good, upstanding men.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, like I said earlier, you can play loose and fast with this definition, because if you go loose with it, it can apply to everything,
Yeah.
anything and everything. But if you go fast and hard hitting with it, it's like, well, like exactly like we talked about, people like Charlie, people like who go to every district event, who go to every lodge meeting.
That's true. And we did have a really good series talking about a couple of very famous Masons where, the end point was not all of the best Master Masons can make it to every lodge function.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's okay. But also in the same breath, just because you show up to everything doesn't mean that you're a better Mason than anybody else. So let's go with the thought process of let's be less on the symbolic and more on the literal definition of being traveling men. So do you think as Masons, it's expected that we travel, that we go not only to lodges in our own district and help our own sister lodges out, but also to become cultured and to go to other districts, other states, other functions, other organizations?
I think it's definitely something that's implied, if not even overtly recommended that you do.
See, so I agree with you to a point. I think it is somewhat recommended by the brothers, but going to, quote unquote, the rules or the blue book or ritual, I don't think it's actually recommended throughout the actual teachings. Now, when you become a Master Mason, you're always, hey, now you can travel with us, blah, 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 and all that. And you get to learn new lodges, new areas, find your other brothers. But I have to disagree with you a little bit.
Well, if we want to go back historically, however, that is one of the benefits of becoming a master versus being an apprentice, was you had the right and ability to travel to foreign lands and get work.
Yes.
So one could argue that it is one of the wages or perks of being in the guild, or in the fraternity in this case, is that you are able to travel and you are able to take the things that you were taught here and take them somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a privilege, really.
I guess my only fault with it is it's not really expected of you, because we always use if it's within the length of your cable tow.
Sure.
So that's where it's like, if you're like, well, it's expected that new Master Masons or Master Masons travel, it's like, well, then you are forcing someone that, or you're highly recommending, hey, this may not be within your cable tow, but you're expected to do this, so do it. So that's where it's like,
And that's completely fair, but I mean, I want you to think back to some of your degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously we can't go into the specifics of it, but there are times throughout the degrees where you are, I guess, encouraged to make sure that you're constantly improving yourself, that you're constantly seeking knowledge, seeking wisdom, and sometimes that necessitates going out into the world, going outside the bounds of what you know to find new information. Because if all you associate with is 5 brothers at your lodge forever, sure, you can have great brotherhood experiences and great brotherhood interactions, but it's a very narrow scope.
Well, and I actually have a really good example of that. So here in the state of Ohio, for our Ohio brothers, I'm going to talk about the fellowcraft degree, not in any specifics, but I'm sure that, some other states call it, the temple degree, or there's different wording for it. We do it a certain way here at Genoa, right? We move the columns, we have the walkway, it's all a thing. It's a floor, Gabe, it's fine. There's a floor. They walk on the floor, it's fine. But we have a certain way that we go about and we do things. It was very interesting for me to go to Oak Harbor and watch Brother Fowler put on the degree and do it same, but he had some specifics. Like, he had some props that I think were just awesome. Fantastic. So the first thing I did was I ripped it off and I went and bought some of those props because they're great.
They are.
But if I would have never went and visited Oak Harbor and watched them put on that degree, I would have never thought of buying these props and making our degree that much cooler.
Well, and that is exactly what I was talking about as I was talking about the fellowcraft degree. I was just trying to be very
overt,
or not overt with it.
I understand. I mean, it's a floor. There's just a floor.
But also kind of like, I mean, Gabe, you and I visited Brother Rodosi's home lodge now.
Yes, I'm blanking on the name. Out east. What was that, like an hour and a half to get there?
Yeah, but anyway, they were doing the Master Mason degree, and for it's not the church, it's the other thing. But they were actually like, they had props and stuff, and that's the first time Gabe and I both saw actual props being presented and multiple different presenters. Like, oh, Sam, here goes to you, the first prop. Gabe, you're doing the second prop. I'm doing the third prop.
Yeah.
And the way they did it, it wasn't, oh, wait, who's next?
They knew it.
Yeah.
They practiced.
Okay, I'm done. And Gabe immediately took over.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and just think, we would have never have seen that had we not traveled as Master Masons, as traveling men to another lodge.
So there is an argument that there is an important side of Masonry that involves traveling.
Oh,
You almost
absolutely.
you almost have to travel as a Mason to become better than what you are, to continue
I would
making a good man better. The only way you're going to get better is by traveling. By traveling and learning. I mean,
I would agree with that in the fact of you can't enjoy the sunny days without a little rain. If all you ever know is the sun, it's going to be boring. After 300 days of nothing but sun and darkness for night, you're going to go, yep, sun's up.
sun's
But-
up, guns up.
Yeah. If the next 52 days are nothing but rain, you're going to go, what the hell is this shit?
Right. What is
Like,
happening here?
Yeah. So I would agree with you there.
So we've got the literal aspect. So we can all kind of agree that traveling in its own is very important to for a well-rounded Mason.
Yeah.
For
Not required, not expected. But
I'd argue it's expected. How many times are you told, "Oh, it's inspection season. Go to everybody on their brother's inspection."
yeah,
I have feelings about
definitely
that.
Expected. It's
I-
definitely
it's
expected
expected.
of us.
It's expected.
okay.
However-
Agree to disagree.
And I do agree with them in the fact that it is a good time to get to know your brothers for inspection season. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
It's not within the length of your days, though.
I am happy.
Exactly.
I am happy to go visit your lodge on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday meeting night. Sit on the sidelines, listen to you conduct business, have dinner with you, go out for a beer after the lodge meeting, whatever. I don't have time to spend 8 hours here.
Yeah. Listening
I don't.
to
And then
pretty much the same thing that you just saw yesterday.
and then I got a
at
2-hour
Sunset
drive
Lodge.
home.
Yeah.
I'm happy if you call me up and you say, "Hey man, we're putting on a Master Mason degree. Can you come out to Pemberville?" If I've got the day off, heck yeah, I'll come out to Pemberville and watch you put on a Master Mason degree. I won't do it for your inspection though. I don't.
I know there's things that we cannot say on air, but I strongly agree with you, Sam. And there's points that we agree on that we cannot talk about. On
But-
I will still never
Or like
forget the Eastern Stars inspection night, where there were so many dignitaries from so many different places. Introductions, meeting started at 7:30. Introductions did not get done until almost 10:30.
Yeah.
And then
I
I
don't
still
put it-
agree to do.
I would go, okay, well, it's been an hour and a half. Goodbye. Have a good night.
And I
So-
love the Eastern Stars. I really do. They're great people.
Right.
They're great women and great
Great
men who
guys. Yeah.
work with them. But
Yeah.
But
Going
but you
back.
get what I'm saying of like but that's just me. There's guys who are all about inspection season.
Yep.
That is their favorite time of year. They love going to every inspection. They love getting here in Northwest Ohio. If you go to every single inspection, you're provided an apron. Like it's gifted to you as an award that says that you visited every single lodge.
Yes.
I know guys that have done it every single year.
Yep.
And they just get another something else on the apron. I
Yep.
mean, some guys are all about traveling during inspection season. I just don't have that kind of free time. I'm more likely if you call me and you say, "Hey, we need help putting on a degree. Can you come help?" And if I got the day off, I'll come do it.
yeah, wasn't this the basic point of the end of our George Washington, Ben Franklin episode?
Yeah, and I think it's just different strokes for different folks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong. I think it would be cool to get that apron because it's like the only way you can get that apron. But at the same time, I agree. Like, there's not enough hours in the
Could
day
you imagine if
for
you told your wife
do
you
that.
were going to be gone 3 days a week?
Oh, she already doesn't like that I work 50 hours a week.
Right.
Well,
And it's-
No.
And I think it's also, I think there's a little bit of a generational thing there. I think that there is, when it comes to traveling, I think that there was a time before us where people were all really gung-ho about masonry and traveling and doing,
Yep.
like, that's what your officer line did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think that
Because that was also their thing, too.
right. I think that but I also think a lot of people didn't spend nearly enough time at home and they neglected their families. How many kids of Master Masons do you know that are like, "I'm not joining that fraternity"?
One of them was a previous boss of mine, actually.
One of them was a a senior DeMolane, and you know, they will not join because they're like, that fraternity ruined my family. My dad was never home. He never spent any time with me. He never threw a baseball with me. Spent more time with the lodge. I think our generation's flipped on that. I don't think that's our thing.
Yeah.
I think we are like, hey, I'm at home. I've got work. I'm happy to help the lodge when I can, but you know, my wife will kill. I love my wife. You know, I married my wife because I love my wife. I want to spend time with my wife.
Why'd you do that in the Borat voice? It was very funny.
If you're in the market for even more awesome Masonic content, check out this clip from the traveling man himself, Brother Jim Hall.
Are you a seeker of the light, history, and the deeper meaning behind Freemasonry? Then tune in to the Traveling Man Masonic Podcast, where brothers come together to share their journeys, traditions, and insights from lodges across the world. Whether you're a seasoned Mason or simply curious about the craft, this podcast brings real stories, candid conversations, and Masonic wisdom straight to your ears. Find the Traveling Man Masonic Podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Travel well, brothers.
No, but I mean, it all makes sense though. Like at a certain point though, traveling,
Yeah.
you can do it too much. You can take
Yeah.
it too far. You can
As
step
we're taught-
outside them due bounds.
As we're taught in one of the degrees, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Right.
Mhm.
Divide your time evenly.
Right.
It is interesting though, because there are so many good experiences that I've had at inspections, but you're completely right that it can be a very large devoted amount of time. And if that's what you do, if that's your hobby, like if that's your niche and that's what you do without interfering in other aspects of your life,
Cool.
By all means, yeah.
I love you for that, brother. You're doing a great thing. You're doing a great service for our district. You're doing a great thing for Brotherhood of Freemasonry.
Right. I mean, how many
It's-
guys do we know? Not even Charlie and Mark, but I mean, like Mr. Wonderful. You know, Rod Fowler's and
Yeah.
everything known to man. However, him and his wife, that's what his kids are grown, and his wife's all about it. So,
Yep. Yep.
I mean, there are some people that's what they do, and
Yeah.
and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, at least in my opinion. And it all goes back to the traveling aspect. But I still have traveled as a Mason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got a really awesome story that we'll share with the listeners too, about me and Brother Staler and a couple of the other guys. We traveled to Pennsylvania. We got to go to Gettysburg Lodge and
Yeah.
visit the brother to
Which
brother.
I know
That's going to
you've-
be a great
yeah.
Or friend
story.
to friend. Sorry.
Yeah, you mentioned multiple times throughout
I
a few
think I
episodes.
want to
and
go
stuff.
to Gettysburg this year and
Yeah.
get one of those rings.
Yeah. And I know we talked about, like, maybe not this year, but next year, because this year we're all so freaking busy with, like, everything going on and stuff. So, and if we start planning it now for next year, it'll be in the books. So
There'll
it's
be
not like-
vacation days. There'll be
Yeah.
hotel points. There'll be everything we need.
Well,
Yeah.
we could also do the recording there, but I digress. But that's a whole episode.
Mhm.
You know, Brother Staler and I can tell you, we learned so much going to Gettysburg and traveling. They do things so differently than we do here in Ohio, but the hospitality, the brotherhood was on point. That was
Yeah.
one thing that, while I didn't know necessarily what was going on because the lines were different, it was still a lodge room full of Masonic brothers. I mean, it was an awesome experience.
And you don't always have to travel very far to find that, though. Like,
No.
I occasionally travel to Finley Lodge in the 10th District, which
Right.
is south of us, about an hour south of us. And those guys are amazing
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Not only do they have cigars together after every meeting, they all go over to each other's houses all the time. They all have chip in for meals before and either before or for after lodge meetings. They do great ritual work.
See, I still want to go visit Finley one of these days.
It's a beautiful, beautiful complex too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
It's one of the old school. If I remember correctly, it's a concrete like
Well, I mean, yeah,
Huge
they had it
concrete
built.
building.
They had it
I mean,
built
it's
for
it looks like what you think a Masonic lodge should look like.
Yeah, it's the Findlay Masonic Complex.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like, they don't call it the Findlay Masonic Lodge. They call it the Findlay Masonic Complex.
We used to go when I was a kid in DMLA. We used to go and we would do degree work there. So that's another cool one. Another really cool one that I know Ryan has been interested in going and checking out is going to Gas City.
Yep.
Where your grandpa was a member.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all things that, like, just imagine what we could learn traveling to these places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, so for instance, like us doing all this stuff with all these other podcasting groups, Time for Fellowship, 357 Studios, these guys that are out of state, every time we talk to these guys, I learn something new about Masonry because they explain how Masonry works where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's same, but different.
Yeah, I would argue we are traveling electronically.
We are. I mean, that's
an interesting thing with the digital age of Freemasonry.
Yes.
But also, there are completely online lodges, too.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about that, but it's a thing.
So, from what I understand, from what I understand, they are administered by their
Grand Lodge.
Yes. Jurisdiction, and everyone in them is validated and checked off and taken, like everything is on the up and up with it. It's just an interesting way for Masons to communicate, because, I mean, remember when we were doing virtual education programs during the COVID lockdowns?
No, I don't, Gabe. I was working.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry,
you asked the one medical host what he was doing
I don't.
during the biggest medical crisis during our lives
so far.
The one that if you told me when I was in college that was going to happen a couple of years later, I wouldn't have did it. So I digress. But no, I understand. Yeah, we met, a lot of lodges met virtually via
Zoom.
Yeah.
Skype,
yeah.
FaceTime, Venmo.
Right. Anything, Venmo. You had to pay them. But no, I mean, that is an interesting, and maybe that's something I could look into and we could do. We could sit in on a digital meeting and obviously we can't tell the listeners how it goes, but
the Warfighter Master said this, and the senior and he did this. It's like, well, we're canceled.
Well, but here's the question with that. We're having this over a Zoom meeting. Who's to say it's not being recorded?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody said, Snapchat deletes all of your pictures.
It does not.
And a bunch of teenagers found out it does not. In fact, they're in a dump somewhere in a server. Every dirty picture you've ever taken is on a server somewhere.
In China,
and Snapchat has it.
Yeah.
You're going to get an email one day. It's just going to drop a file and you're going to have to pay them money every week. But anyway, traveling. So we've got the literal aspect of traveling. We've talked about the symbolic aspect of traveling. What kind of things would you like to learn about being traveling?
Well,
is it an aspiration? Is it something that we should aspire to be traveling men, or is it something that we just are as Masons?
I think we're going through the logical and not the, hey, you were taught this, so use this in your day-to-day life traveling. I would say it depends on the person. Like, to me, yes, I want to travel, but like what we just talked about is I'm not going to make it my day-to-day duties or even my weekly duties. I'm going to put it in my when I can duties. I want to go to Gas City. I've been saying that for 3 years now.
Yep.
Still hasn't happened because it's like I'm too busy. I know it's always, well, you make time for things you actually want to do. I do, but at the same time, you also got to think of priorities.
Right.
Okay, I can either A, go to Gas City, or B, continue planning a wedding.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah. Or I can go to Albuquerque, New Mexico for my work and get paid.
Yeah.
That's an easy choice. Further my career or go to a lodge for one day.
Do I go to a lodge function and go AWOL Or do I go to annual training because the governor issued me orders that I am legally bound
Right.
to?
Yeah. So, and that's where I would say it depends on the person. It depends on their needs and wants and their day-to-day life.
Right. And how flexible your day-to-day life is.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
some people have
If you're
very flexible
retired and
schedules.
you got nothing else going on, yeah, you can go travel. But if you're like our age and you're busy 9 out of 10 times, it's like,
well, and like I said, let me argue this fact with you coming from a completely different perspective than you two day walkers. 1 day a week of my days off aren't really days off. Like, I work until 7 o'clock in the morning on my day off.
yeah.
My day has already, like, yesterday is today and tomorrow is not until I go to sleep.
That must be fun.
It's terrible. It's like fast forwarding in time. Sleeping is like a fast forward button.
Yeah. When I worked at McDonald's, I worked third shift.
Yeah.
It sucks. You go in at like 5, 7 o'clock. You don't get home. You get home around like 4 or 6 a.m.
But you don't wake back up until
You-
4 o'clock in the afternoon. and
But yeah,
everything's gone.
you go home and your body doesn't immediately go, okay, go into rest. It goes, oh, well, hey, you got to do this and you got to do this.
Right.
What about this
Yeah.
that happened today? And what about this tomorrow? And you're like, well, cool, that's 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm just now going to sleep. Cool.
Correct. But
And then
I
you
say
also got
that.
to go to lodge on top
Right.
of all that.
Yeah.
But that's my thing. So a lot of times when you guys are like, hey, we're going to go to this lodge, I'm like, where is it and when do we got to go? And you're like, oh, it's at 6 o'clock, so we got to leave here at 4 o'clock. Do I sacrifice my sleep?
You sleep on the way there.
I can't. Oh, God. That doesn't work, and we all know that. don't
Yeah,
lie.
no. You either sleep amazing somehow, like
Or you
you
don't.
won the lottery, or you somehow wake up more tired than you were
Correct.
than before. And you're like, how the fuck does that work?
Correct. So there are times where you guys are like, oh, we're going to go see, once again, Brother Rodosi's thing. You guys had to leave at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I didn't go to sleep until noon. I can't function on 4 hours of sleep. I'm not a good person on 4 hours of sleep.
I think we didn't get back to Genoa until like 11:30.
See, that's
Yeah,
that's the flip side, though. That's the part that doesn't bother me. You can keep me out as late as you want.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't hit my stride. I'm not awake until 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Both of us, we were just like,
Yep.
this.
To drive, and you're driving home. I'd be the one driving with a Red Bull going, la 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 la. Like, I don't care. That's when I'm awake. But like, you ask me to wake up at 4 o'clock, and I'm
And
just
see-
over here like,
Here's the
What?
let me ask you something.
yeah,
Since we're talking about traveling, we've all done a lot of like friendship stuff and hanging out and everything. Is Masons going somewhere together Masonic traveling?
yes,
Just going somewhere random together,
100%.
Even if it's not to a Masonic event and they're just going,
like to dinner or to paintball
Yeah.
or to
Yes.
Yeah.
anything.
Yes.
I agree. I'm
Yeah.
100%.
oh, hey, we're going to go to Comic-Con. Yeah.
So again, and that also leads me into another kind of tying into a point I made earlier is, can a single Mason by himself be a traveler?
Yes.
Exactly.
Why not?
So
1,000%.
Well, and it's not. I would even argue that you don't necessarily even have to be doing something Masonic per se to be a traveling man. I would argue, though, so let's take Brother Allred, Brother Mark. Brother Mark just got back from Japan. Can you imagine the amount of culture this man has acquired in the time that he was in Japan?
Mhm.
I mean, and whether he takes that and he incorporates some of it, it's still got a seed of wisdom in there where he can at some point say, he's going to tell us some useless fact that's like a Japanese idiom, and we're all going to look at him like he's the wisest man on the planet for 2 seconds, and then we're going to laugh. But
And
it's
then
gonna
we're
be
going to remember a photo of him wearing a cheese
cheese hat.
And we're going to go,
Remember.
yeah, that's on poor.
That tracks. But like, he's learning something new. He's becoming cultured. I would argue even you going to your annual training last week. You're learning skills that not only affect, your, like, what you're doing right then and there, but they're also skills that you theoretically could take with you into your public works career.
Correct.
And it's things that in the event of an emergency, you would need to be able, you could use them, to help further people, which is a Masonic goal in its own.
And interesting little tidbit, I did get to talk with several other Lodge brothers at annual training, and they love the podcast. So
It makes me happy.
they say we're doing a pretty good job.
I am happy to hear that. But I think there's more to being a traveling man than just being a Masonic traveling man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's the thing. We travel, we go to lodges, we meet each other. But I think there's more to it. I think it's that constant endeavor to learn something new, to be more cultured, to be more intelligent, to acquire more knowledge. Going back to, let's look at Brother Franklin and Brother Washington. We've got two guys, like I said, opposite sides of the coin. Both of them traveled in their own way, but also both of them very self-learned men. They learned on their own. They read books. They learned from people they knew people that were able to teach them better ways to go about it. And then they took that knowledge, and George Washington defeated an army that was, double, triple his size?
Yeah.
If not quadruple. And Ben Franklin made an empire and was able to essentially Carnegie his way before Carnegie existed and earn friends and gain influence before such a thing existed.
Yep.
You're talking about two traveling men, different journeys, different adventures, different paths, but the thing that they had in common is that they both walked on the sidewalk of masonry on their path.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that phrase.
Just
However,
thought of that.
I think it also, like, when it comes to traveling, I think it also traveling doesn't have to necessarily be intentional. A traveling man can just be someone who represents themselves as a Mason very well in what they're doing. Like when I go to do things at work, when I'm serving the citizens of the city that I work for,
I'd agree with that.
I do that to the best of my ability as a Mason. So is my vocation traveling because I use my Masonic principles to try to serve people better?
I don't think your vocation is, but I think you are.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, I think it's...
I appreciate that.
I don't think it's vocational. I mean, like you said, you can hit this question so hard and so loose. It just depends on how dialed in you want to be.
Yeah.
Right?
What scale you want to do? Do you want to be loosey-goosey and anything and everything's traveling? Or do you want to be number 10 and be super strict to where it's like, no, traveling is only
going to every
Masonic event.
Yeah.
Like, that is it.
Well, and I will tell you this, just to give the listeners a little bit of a look-see into what we have coming for them. This is a question that we received in all of the surveys. And it was really popular. But the thing is it was asked in different ways, but it all fell under the same umbrella.
Yes.
So the literal aspect, somebody asked, can you talk about traveling to other lodges? What are you supposed to do? What's the etiquette? And, I sat there and I thought about it. I went, I kind of take that for granted because we have two of the most traveled Masons in the state of Ohio.
And we all know each other in our district, so we all just get accepted wherever we go.
But that's not always the case. Some of these lodges are in the middle of towns in the middle of nowhere, and then, So we have, once again, we're going to have two of the most traveled Masons that we know of are going to come in and they're going to talk about the etiquette of traveling. The rules and
the do's and don'ts
and what you should do, what you shouldn't.
How to prepare and whatnot.
And then I also have an interview from a Mason who may classify maybe as an accidental traveler because he showed up on our doorstep and
interesting
and would like to share some of his story about how he's found Genoa Lodge after moving and everything. So.
I also have Brother Mark and Brother Charlie are going to come on and talk about their travels to the Grand Lodge of England.
Ooh.
That was really cool. They have a lot of really cool stories. They went to a whole nother country and did masonry, and they said it was one of the coolest things they've ever done.
Yeah.
So that I'm really excited for. We also have a sit down with our friends at 357 Studios, so
Mhm.
they can talk a little bit about what it's like to be a Mason in their jurisdiction. I'm looking forward to that because it's always a hoot with them.
It is.
Yep.
We also are in talks right now of going and visiting one or two of the Prince Hall lodges in the state of Ohio. Now, listeners, I understand not every state and not every jurisdiction recognizes Prince Hall.
But we do.
But we do. And
I appreciate them.
but I look forward to it. It's an invitation that they reached out to us, and we're going to take advantage of it.
We are absolutely not going to spurn this invitation.
No, actually, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I haven't been around the Prince Hall guys since I was, well, obviously they come to our Grand Lodge stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
we see them there, and sometimes they come to some of our actual, like, just normal stuff.
they're at the Brotherhood Night in Cleveland
Yes.
at Forest City Lodge every year.
So it's not like we get to go and watch them do their degree work and what have you. We don't do it very often. And it's kind of a shame because we have one here in our backyard. And I am ashamed to say that I haven't been there. And
Yep.
we're invited to go all the time.
Same.
And they put on some of the best ritual work ever.
Yep.
I mean, period.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They're very, very good. They have
They-
a culture about them
Yeah.
that you cannot beat.
They've taken it and made it their bread and butter.
Yeah. And
Like,
it's almost embarrassing sometimes watching them do degree work and going, damn, I wish we were that good. Like, it's,
Damn, we always fuck up this. How are they getting
yeah,
this
it's
better?
crazy. So
Like,
I'm really looking forward to that.
What?
But also, I think we take it for granted that we are in a state, and ever since I have been a member of this organization, and even in DMLA, we have always had some of the Prince Hall brethren around. It's always it's been around us to the point where it's kind of surprising to me that when I talk to somebody online or whatever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we don't recognize Prince Hall," and I'm like, "What do you mean you don't recognize Prince Hall?" I didn't even know that was a thing
yeah.
till I kind of started opening my eyes to the rest of the country. So, if we're lucky, we'll get some really good information about their history, where they come from,
Mhm.
what they do differently.
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to that one. And I think that's going to be a real, I don't want to say culture shock, because it's just different. Once again, same, but different.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to that. If I'm lucky, I may be able to get, sorry, Craftsman, I just blanked out. It's, Demarest. Brother
Oh, yes, Isaac Demarest.
Brother Demarest coming on and talking hopefully about his travels, not only he himself, but also some of his travels to Malta.
Ew.
An interesting experience that he had there while traveling there.
Malta is an interesting place to be a Freemason.
Yeah, that's a understatement. And we'll probably have a few more in there scattered about.
I'm interested to hear all of their responses because they'll probably all have very different opinions.
But our keynote speaker that will final off this question is the one and only, the godfather of Masonic podcasts, Brother Chad Kapinski,
Ooh.
who has agreed to come on and be our keynote speaker to finish out this topic. So
I love that.
I love the fact that we are,
We're moving up in the world.
well, I mean, I'm excited. I'm really excited. So this is a question I really appreciate because we can tackle it from a bunch of different directions.
Yep.
And I think no matter what we do, I feel like we're going to learn the practical aspect of traveling.
Absolutely.
We're going to learn the symbolic aspect of traveling, and we're going to learn it from guys that you can't beat these guys. These are guys that are known throughout the state of Ohio
Correct.
and other podcast groups. I mean, it's going to be great. I'm so excited for this. So thank you for sticking with us for our summer series, but it is time to get locked in. We're ready to go.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it. Just to tie up, Craftsman, once again, we would like to extend to you that if it's in the length of your cable tow, please visit masongearshop.com. You can find it in the link in all of our podcast episodes. And if you'd like, purchase some of the awesome merch. As we said, it'll go to helping the Genoa Lodge 433 Grand Lodge Fund.
Perfect. Anything else, guys?
No, I think I'm just excited for our next question series.
Yeah,
Me too.
That's
It was a nice break, but it's
Yep.
time to lock in, and it's time to start just
and hopefully this question cycle I'll be able to actually be in multiple recordings.
yeah.
Yes,
Not just like
hopefully.
yeah,
In the first one and the last one.
yeah, exactly.
That's all right. You were listening.
Yes. So,
All right, remember, craftsman.
Keep your working tools in order.
and always be on the level.
Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect those of the Grand Lodge of Ohio, its officers, or any of its jurisdictions. They only reflect those of the hosts or guests.